Let's see which one it is. That's the 9th Street in Ogden.
Mm-hmm. This is our house on 9th Street in Ogden. We lived in the Mound Fort ward. Shanna went to Mound Fort Junior High. I went to Taylor Elementary, I think. No, I think that was Lynn's school. But this house was just wonderful. It was a very small house. It had a bedroom, a bathroom, a kitchen, and a living room. I think it maybe have had 2 bedrooms, but someone took a wall out at some point. My parents didn't do that in this house, although they did in most houses we lived in.
To take a wall out?
Yeah, but they didn't, in this house it had already been done. And then it had a back porch that was all enclosed, so it was another bedroom. And then you went through the back door and through a little covered walkway, and then there was a little place out there that had 2 more little teeny rooms in it.
Oh, cool. Like a breezeway?
Yes. Yeah, just walk through a breezeway out. And then just off of that breezeway there was a patio with a wall. It was a walled-in patio with a built-in fireplace.
Cool.
Trumpet vines growing in the corner.
Did you ever have parties out there?
Oh yeah, we had a lot of fun out there. And then behind the wall was a big, huge garden space. And my father raised vegetables out there, and he had rabbit pens and raised rabbits. So that was great. And then over here...
Did you eat the rabbit meat?
Yeah.
Growing up you did?
Mm-hmm. Over on this side...
Wait, let me zoom in so where I can see where you're pointing.
Right. Over on this side was a huge, big garage. Huge. It was about 3 times as big as the house. And it had a great big slanted roof. And in the winter, when it snowed, my father would have us go up there and slide down. It would push the snow off in front of us, and then we would land in a pile of snow. It was really great fun. But that's how he kept the roof from caving in on the garage from the weight of the snow. And he would do extra repair work. He worked at Olson Chevrolet when we lived here, but he would do extra repair work at home in that garage, and then he could bring in a little extra income. The whole yard was fenced with a white basket weave fence. You can see it on here. It's right in the front, but it went clear around the whole yard.
Cool.
And it was a white basket weave fence, and then it had Paul Scarlet roses climbing all over it. Paul Scarlet roses are a deep red rose. And the whole front yard on both sides was peonies, which of course bloom in the spring around Memorial Day. And so we would make dozen bunches of peonies, and my parents got some big round galvanized tubs, and they'd fill those with water and stick these bunches of peonies in them. And then right up the street this way was Washington Boulevard. And so we would go up and just sell them on the street corner there for Memorial Day for $1 a dozen. I can't even believe getting peonies for $1 a dozen now. $1 a peony maybe. But if we would, cars would stop and buy peonies, and we, if you sold a dozen peonies, then you got to keep a dime of the dollar. And every time I sold a dozen, I would walk across the street to the Stop and Shop and get a Three Musketeers candy bar and eat it, and come back and sell another dozen and go get another candy bar.
And did you eat the chocolate off of it first?
Frivolous of me. I should have saved more of my money. Did I eat the what?
The chocolate off first, and then you ate the nougat?
Oh yeah, I did all the things. And then over here on this side of the fence, there was a little pond there, and we had ducks, and they played in that little pond. It was just very, very small, little teeny. It was like, almost like a puddle.
Like a retention pond, kind of.
Right.
Little
pond. It was
pond.
like a little puddle, and it was just, we put water in it on purpose so the ducks would have a place to play and splash around. But it wasn't big at all. And so we had ducks and we had lilac bushes. And over here, this was a cherry tree.
Let me see.
And it
Which
was in
one?
the front yard. One winter we built an igloo between the house and that cherry tree. Myrna and I built it. And we took boards and made the top with boards and covered it with blankets and then packed snow on top of that. And so we could go in our igloo and have fun. One night we looked out and it had collapsed in the night, so. But it was great fun, great fun. And then over here we had a bunch of bushes between the house and the peonies. And there was black-eyed Susans that were as tall as I was, you know, and it was just wonderful.
Which ones are black-eyed Susans?
Snowball bushes. Every kind of old-fashioned flower you can imagine was in that yard. It was just
Like going into a dream.
It was the most fabulous cottage yard. The house was a cottage, but the yard was just fabulous.
That's so cool.
And we had a great time there. Now, Myrna was about 12 there when we lived there. I think I turned 12, so that shows you about how long. But she had a boyfriend named Richard, and he lived kitty-cornered across the street from us. And one time my parents went on a trip, and they got my Aunt Margaret to come and take care of us. And Aunt Margaret was stern character, and she wouldn't let Myrna out of the yard. She had to stay in the yard because she didn't want her getting mixed up with boys. And so Myrna would sit on the fence, and Richard would be on the outside of the fence. They'd talk to each other. It was pretty silly.
You should tell a story. Was that where you got the bikes for Christmas?
And then we decided we were going to toughen up our feet, so we would run through the snow out to the gate and back to the house. Toughening our feet was the silliest thing. We're frostbiting our feet is what we were doing.
We used to do that. We'd run to the mailbox,
Yeah,
barefoot, and have races. We weren't toughing our feet. We were just racing.
right. So you could do it.
We were crazy.
But somewhere there's a picture of this house with my parents standing out in front of it. Elena probably has it. She got a lot of Mom's pictures when she died.
Is the house still there?
No, they've torn it down and built an apartment building on it.
Which shows how much land it
It's
was.
very sad. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And even the apartment building has yard around it.
Gosh, that's amazing.
Such a big lot. Yeah, but it was just a magical place to live.
What about that Christmas morning?
One Christmas morning, we got up. We used to get up about 4:30, and
Well, didn't your mom used to stomp outside your door until you would finally
that's
wake
when
up?
we were older.
Oh.
When we were this age, we got up
On your own, yeah.
you know, and so we got up, and there were bikes there. I don't know, there's a part of the story I don't know if I should tell you because little kids who believe in Santa Claus will.
Well, you tell it, and we won't show it to them till later.
Okay. We got the bikes. There was a blue bike and a white bike. And we knew they were not brand new bikes, but they were our bikes, and we didn't have bikes, so it was just really wonderful to us to get them.
And you thought the bikes were for...
And I thought the bike was for one for Shannon, one for Myrna, so I went right by over to find my stuff. And Mama came in and she said, no, the bikes are the white one is for Shanna and Myrna to share, and the blue one is for Elizabeth. So I had a bike all of my own. It was very exciting. And so Myrna and I went out to ride our bikes.
Up and down.
At 4 o'clock in the morning on Washington Boulevard. There wasn't a car on the street, which is a big 4-lane road.
And it had snowed.
And it had snow. It had been cleared, you know, and so we went out and rode, and I can still feel that wind in our hair and how exciting it was and how happy we felt. And then my sister had a best friend there, or a good friend named Judy, and they lived just down the street and across the street. And so they got brand new bikes, and they came over to show us their brand new bikes. And she said, "Your bikes are our old bikes. Your dad bought them from my dad and painted them." And we said, "No, they're not. And it doesn't matter anyway, you know."
So?
Yeah. But we just enjoyed our bikes.
And your dad paid for them.
Yeah, and I thought, what joy did you get in saying that?
Yeah.
You know, that was so unchristian a thing to do.
Yeah. But luckily you guys were head held high folk.
But she and I never got
Really along.
we never did get along very well. She was Myrna's friend. But I think I graduated from primary in that ward, in the Mount Fort ward. But then just barely after that, we moved up to Swan Street.
And that's still in Ogden?
Yeah. But this yard was just the most wonderful place to live. My father had a man that had come from Norway. He had known him in Norway. I don't know if he was one of his converts or what, but he would come, and he and his wife had no children, and he loved kids, and he was like magic to us himself. He always was cheery, he always was happy. He would come, and he had a little coin purse that had the snap on it, and you opened it, and he would give us each a nickel, and you could buy a lot for a nickel then. I mean, after
considering you could get a full-size candy bar for a dime.
You know, and penny candy was 2 or 3 pieces for a penny. So he would come when we lived there, and oh, we loved it. And if we went to visit him, his wife was dying of cancer, so we would go and visit them once in a while. And he always had fruit for us, fruit was quite a treat then. My father worked as an automobile repairman, and they weren't paid that much then. Nowadays they make like $40 an hour. They weren't paid that much back then.
They make more than $40
and he had
an hour
6
now.
kids. Lance was born when we lived in this house. And my mother's bedroom in this house had white wallpaper with lilacs all over it.
That's the house that.
Yes.
You've always wanted to have a room with white wallpaper with lilacs on it.
Right, and I just thought it was the most beautiful room
that's ever been.
And there was a period when she gave all of us that room, and she and Dad took the porch room. When it got winter and it was too cold,
she couldn't send her kids out there to do that.
To that little place because there was no real heat. Then she moved all 4 of us in there, and I can remember having a nightmare in that room, and her coming in and talking to me, and telling me, you know, there was nothing to be afraid of, but it was so wonderful because she left the light on for me, and then the wallpaper was so beautiful that you couldn't have nightmares in that room.
Once you could see
that wallpaper. It was wonderful. And so basically that is our story there.
Of the 9th Street in Ogden.
Yes, on 9th Street in Ogden.
Just up from Washington Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's zoom in on the picture, shall we?
Just west of Washington Boulevard.
That way everybody's got a copy. Just west of Washington Boulevard?
Mm-hmm.
What was the house that you moved into right after that?
Swan Street in Ogden.
Swan Street. Is that still there too, or no?
I think Swan Street is still there.
Is the Bluebird Cafe, is that in Logan?
Yes.
And that's where you had your wedding breakfast?
Yes.
Okay.
But Father and Mother didn't pre-invite. Just at the wedding they said, come to wedding breakfast, you know. And then, but my parents had to get back
to throw the reception.
To Willa to do the wedding. After all, we'd had to drive clear to Logan for Dad on the day of the wedding, you know.
What a trooper.
So we did the wedding breakfast, and they left and drove back.
That's
did the wedding.
Was your mom a trooper about it?
Yes, my mom was a trooper.
That's awesome. So she wasn't creamsickly?
But we were late for our own wedding.
Oh no.
Because of it.
Because it was so far away?
Because Mother had to do a little shopping, and your dad...
Wait.
Your dad